Nature, the physical world, has no labels, context, or frame. It consists of infinite continuums of objective processes, interdependent on each other, ruled by causation, a notion akin to the falling tree in the forest, with no one there to hear it. We, as human beings, are focal points of subjective observation and interaction. Context is given to this world, to this conscious reality. Essentially, we put labels and meaning to the world. Collectively, we agree upon aspects which allow us to communicate. A narrative provides a structure for the labels and contextualizes information and gives life to otherwise inanimate forms. Hermitage Park and Kennedale constructed wetlands are the chosen areas for this project. Hermitage Park allows for many recreation activities along the riverbanks, fulfilling social needs of a community while connecting it to the surrounding ecosystem. Kennedale constructed wetland serves the future by carrying out experiments on treating stormwater through biofiltration, intentional landscape design, finding a way to harmonize with the surrounding ecology. The exploration in the collection begins with the geological history to learn what created the hardscape and the landforms we see today. A brief background of the geography and physiography allows one to understand the hydrology and workability of the land. Information about the ecology and weather patterns prepares the mind to better understand circumstances of human habitation. The history of humans in the area, coupled with economic evolution, starts to paint a familiar picture. Primed with all this information, one can look at the specific site information more objectively. During the Tertiary and Pleistocene epochs, the Alberta Plains went through a series of erosion cycles. The last of the erosion cycles formed a drainage system. The pre-glacial North Saskatchewan River was part of this system. 200 feet valleys, a few miles wide. Many disposition and erosion cycles came to an end during the classical Wisconsin time. A continental ice sheet up to 500 feet high covered the area. Then, about 10,000 years later, deglaciation took place where meltwaters accumulated in the glacial Lake Edmonton with waters up to 100 feet high. As the ice melted, the lake drained. The major drainage channel carved out of the landscape is today's North Saskatchewan River. The headwaters of the North Saskatchewan River originate 1,800 meters above sea level in the Columbia icefields of the Rocky Mountains. The river then makes its way across Alberta, entering our city from the southwest and exiting from the northeast. It continues on to Saskatchewan, where it joins the South Saskatchewan River and eventually drains in Lake Winnipeg. The part of the North Saskatchewan that meanders through our city is only a small fraction of its total length, 1,287 kilometers. The physiographic region of Edmonton lies in the eastern Alberta plains. Edmonton sits in the natural region known as the Central Parkland. The climate type in the area is continental. Temperature regimes include cold winters, short hot summers, warmest month July, with a mean annual temperature approximately 3 degrees Celsius. Low annual precipitation, an average of 400 millimeters. Growing season starts in May and ends in September. Moisture availability in the growing seasons generally limiting the growth after June. High evaporation due to high insulation, drying westerly winds. Availability increases with elevation, higher precipitation, and latitude, lower solar input. Important airflow patterns: cold northerly flows in winter, also milder Pacific air masses in winter produces higher temperatures in elevated areas to the west, with Chinooks mainly in the southwest Alberta. The First Nation tribes which inhabited Alberta included the Siska, Blackfoot, Kainai, Blood, Pikuini, Pagan, and Gros Ventura. Other groups including the Kootenai and the Crow. The river valley, rich with resources, produced a variety of flora and fauna, allowing many nations to thrive and travel with the utilization of the waterways. In later years, the European intervention monetized nature's bounty with the introduction of the fur trade and trapping, etc. Anthony Henry was believed to be one of the first explorers of the region in 1754. A major trading post of the Hudson Bay Company was erected at the mouth of the Sturgeon River in 1795, the old Fort Edmonton. The city was built around the new Fort Edmonton, which was rebuilt along the river after the destruction caused by Blood Indians in 1808. Without the North Saskatchewan River, the city of Edmonton would not exist. The river was the only source of transportation for early traders and settlers, and it was the life force for it provided food and water as well. Fertile lands drew settlers, and Edmonton's strategic location along the major transportation channel, the river, made it a commercial and agricultural hub. The community got its first train line branch in 1891, increasing trading capabilities to transport timber, furs, and other resources. Edmonton sits on a variety of sedimentary deposits, which include sandstone, shale, coal, sand, and gravel. Hence, the extraction industry in the area grew. In 1981, Edmonton was the 5th largest city in Canada. In this millennium, the Athabasca oil sands extraction has attracted people in search of opportunities from all over the world. Edmonton's River Valley Park system brings a harmonious flavor to the city and intimately connects the inhabitants to its living ecology and history of habitation. The park system is a swath of land surrounding the river. It's like a zipper which pulls together aspects of human habitation and the underlying natural ecology. It covers 7,400 hectares with over 150 kilometers of trails, the largest of any city in North America. Hermitage Park is part of the River Valley Park System. The park is a buffer zone between the residential zone and the river and the industrial zone, mediating and blending the cityscape into its surroundings. From one vantage point, one can capture a mosaic of city life, from apartment buildings to railway lines to industrial land to river to the park. The park draws community all year round. It has ample parking. Activities at the park include boating, fishing, off-leash areas for pets, picnic areas, walking and cycling trails, and other recreational activities. After a detailed exploration into the geological, ecological, physiographical, environmental, economical, and human history of the area, one can notice the underpinnings and hidden narratives in the face of the landscape, filled with echoes of the past. It brings home the fact of our significance and insignificance, the ephemeral nature of life, from the smallest organism to the tallest of mountains, that we as humans cannot control the landscape, but instead we must learn to work with it. The Kennedale constructed wetlands is the side of the park that is looking toward the future. Human habitation today produces a wide range of harmful waste products which can enter the ecosystems. Some of these include effluents from factories, pollutants disposed in stormwater drains, runoffs from pet or livestock waste, pesticide, lawn care products, and others. Wastewater and stormwater is a vehicle for pollutants to enter ecosystems. Kennedale constructed wetlands attempts to interject this process to filter out harmful toxins by passing the stormwater from the Kennedale Basin through a series of biological filtration stages. Water enters the Kennedale wetland through an underground storm pipe into a 4-bay pond. From there, the water travels through a series of marsh zones of varying depths. As the water takes its week-long trip through the wetland, plants and microorganisms remove heavy metals like cadmium, lead, and copper. Excess nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus are also removed. The water then flows back into North Saskatchewan River much cleaner than when it originally entered Kennedale wetland. The constructed wetland mimics a natural wetland, providing a habitat for a variety of birds, mammals, and plant life. It improves air quality by acting as a carbon sink, reduces the heat island effect created by buildings and roads and other infrastructure. It also provides a beautiful green space for Edmontonians to enjoy, an opportunity to observe plants and animals within a major city. The Kennedale wetland acts as an educational tool to teach Edmontonians about the importance of the wetlands and their preservation. As per James Corner, 1990, a craft may often win professional competitions. It can be repeated and, to a degree, taught. Its skills can be deployed without reference to feeling, history, or ideas. Motivation, however, necessitates the definition of a particular stance toward life, some idea of a culture's relationship toward the world and existential problems. It employs the feelings found in cultural memory and personal experience to general meaning, wonder, and expression. Motivation engenders a heightened sense of purpose. At its greatest, it's an epiphany, a revelation, a new way of seeing the world.